honestly, honest, nice you like.
Dude, I am so sick of your negativity. You have been here for a full week since the ceremony, and all you do is lie on the couch all day, smoke my fucking video games.
You've got some real problems, buddy. So in the meantime, desperate times call for desperate measures. I try and get it to simulate the effects of different drugs.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hey, I want to do a move.
Where's the beat?
So no, I don't know now. No, I don't know. What do you think is going to happen? I don't know. It's nice to lie.
Oh, what the fuck was that, man? That place was so fucking weird, man. I kept hearing so many... they weren't voices, but there's something about that place just... I don't know. I feel like I gotta figure that out. But right now, I've gotta take a shower and get my shit together and fucking talk about Preacher, so... Oh, God. Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. Oh. All right. Oh. It has been a long day. All right. So the 4th episode of Preacher has come and gone. Quite a few more than that, actually. I'm a little behind, but whatever. I was really excited when I first saw the title of this episode was Monster Swamp. I got so excited
because I started thinking of the bayou in Louisiana where Jesse grew up, Angelville, you know, the old southern plantation of the Langell family, the fucked up evil family he grew up in that he grew up in the comics. Because in the show now, actually, what they've done, I don't know why they bothered to fucking call it Monster Swamp unless they're just fucking trolling. Like, seriously, are you fucking trolling with that title? Like, you mentioned the word Monster Swamp before, and there's an actual swamp in the comics that has various varieties of people that could be considered monsters, and you called your 4th episode Monster Swamp, and people could see that it was titled Monster Swamp before they ever watched it, because, like, on social media and shit, you put on the fucking, you know, titles. So you called it Monster Swamp, and you're not going to the fucking Monster Swamp. So I'm just asking you, are you trolling? So let me clarify what I'm talking about when I talk about the Monster Swamp. All right, now I'm going to do this real fast and real briefly, just in case they decide to go into more detail later and actually use the real backstory from the comics. Because if they lose these 4 possibly characters, 5, 6 characters, potentially, if they don't go to Angelville, or they'll have to bastardize them the way they are, you know, are doing everything else on the show. So whatever, I guess they'll just do some stupid, fucked up version of shit. But anyways, Angelville. Angelville is this really old French family plantation in Louisiana, near the bayou, where Jesse Custer grows up. He grows up there for part of his life, right? Okay. Jesse Custer's dad, we've talked about. He's this badass Marine. He comes back and he meets this girl. The girl we haven't talked about that much, right? Okay. The girl, Jesse's mother, her name was Christina Langell. And she's part of this old aristocratic French family that has a very strong tradition. And in this tradition, all the men become preachers. Right? All the women, of course, just breed. They just fucking pop out preachers and preachers and breeders and breeders. They just pop them out. They get up the legs and they pop them out. And that's the way the Angels do it. And they're kind of strict about it. Grandma's kind of actually like the biggest psycho bitch in the whole world. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail, and I don't want to ruin anything. But let's just say that there is a lady named Grandma. She's got 2 badass fucking bodyguard piece of shit motherfuckers named TC and Jody. And Jody's the one to really watch out for. That are the guys that, well, they're guys that do something very serious in the comic. Jody and TC, and Jody in particular, is someone who moves the story forward at a critical point in a critical way. And I think they've already kind of decided to change that, and I'll get to that later on in this episode. But, yeah, I'm not too excited about them not going to Angelville yet. Not going to Angelville also means that we don't see Billy Bob, Jesse's one-eyed friend, or his sister Lori. They both have one eye because of a little bit of swamp people inbreeding. But, you know, who knows? Maybe they will show up. So, hey, sorry if I spoiled it for you, but I told you to read the comics. I warned you several times. If you're watching the 4th episode of this show before watching any of the other ones, first of all, you have no idea what happened in that first segment. Like, that was weird and confusing as it is. But if you haven't watched the show before, then why are you watching the show? You don't know there's spoilers. So not only do we not go to the fucked up, wonderful palace of misery and shitstorms that is Angelville, we're still in Anvil. And Jesse is from fucking Anvil. He was an altar boy when his dad was a priest there. And on top of that, Tulip is from fucking Anvil, and her and Jesse grew up together. None of this is in the comic. I already talked to you 5 seconds ago about Jesse growing up in Angelville, and last episode we discussed Tulip's dad and how he died, and he taught her how to shoot guns and all these other things. I think that was last episode. There might have been 2 episodes ago. I get a little fuzzy. On which things I talked about in which episodes. I mean, it was a long time ago. That was like 2 weeks ago. Either way, it's clear that the 2 of them did not grow up together. Tulip and Jesse meet when Jesse is right around 17 years old, and Tulip is probably around 21, I'm guessing, because they meet in a bar. But, you know, it's Texas, and Jesse's there at 17, or whatever. Jesse's like this fucking young stud cowboy, and he's banging all the chicks in this small Texas town, and he walks into a bar, and Tulip gives him the eye, and he kind of gives her the eye, and She doesn't like the way that his skinny bitch girlfriend looks at him, so she takes him in the back and fucks him. And from then on, it is a whirlwind of romance between Jesse and Tulip, where they're fucking and stealing cars and just crazy fucking Bonnie and Clyde shit. Not robbing banks. They don't rob banks at gunpoint and shoot security guards. None of that shit happened. But no, they're just kind of like wild kids out there fucking causing mayhem more than like trying to be criminals, right? They're not career criminals by any stretch of the means. They steal cars and sell cars in other cities, so I guess maybe they're career criminals. They steal cars. They don't rob banks. Anyways. Another thing that relates back to Angelville and Grandma and Jody and TC and the torture they put Jesse through as a child, forcing him to become a preacher. Did I make that clear? Let's make that clear. They were forcing him to become a preacher, and he didn't want to. His dad didn't want him to be forced to become a preacher, and that's kind of why his dad is dead. Spoiler alert. So again, without giving away a huge thing, John Wayne is supposed to talk to Jesse, right? And he meets him when he's a kid. He ain't going through shit in Angelville. I don't think John Wayne's going to show up in this show. Have I mentioned John Wayne a few times? Let's talk about John Wayne. So when Jesse is a kid, he meets the ghost of John Wayne. Like, he begins speaking to the ghost of John Wayne. Now, at this point, his father's already died, so it could be the ghost of his father and not the ghost of John Wayne. It could be the ghost of his father appearing as John Wayne. Ghosts kind of tend to be shapeshifters. It's kind of the nature of being an energy being, you know what I mean? Jesse talks to John Wayne when he needs advice, and John Wayne tells him what he should do. John Wayne informs his morality. When Jesse was a kid, his dad would take him to John Wayne movies. I mean, that's where the connection comes from. And not for nothing, John Wayne is a classic American heroic good guy badass. That's who Jesse Custer is. He's a fucking kid trying to live up to his dad's standards set by John Wayne. That is what motivates Jesse to act heroically. I mean, not a guy that stands up for people that need help. He's a guy that's not afraid to stick his nose in somebody else's business when shit is fucked up, He does the right thing regardless of whether or not it's popular, as long as he knows in his heart it's right. And he's got a pretty solid code. Jesse's not unfair. Jesse's never well, there's one time Jesse's unfair. Maybe we'll see that in the comic. He's pretty unfair in the fucking comic to this one guy. Just trying to remember which books he's in. I've lent out a lot of my Preachers because I want people to read them. I've been lending out Preachers as long as I've had Preachers because I want everyone to read Preacher. Have I ever mentioned that, by the way, that I want everyone to read Preacher? It's Hoover. Hoover. I mean, you pissed him off. You pissed him off. You went after a guy you shouldn't have fucked with. You fucked with the wrong one. And you got what you had coming to you, Hoover. But we'll see if Hoover shows up with the Grail in the show. He hasn't yet. But who knows who these people are from the Grail so far, right? I mean, the way this show's going, Hair Star is probably going to be like an Italian woman, for Christ's sake. I mean, what the fuck? What we're really not getting from the show so far is the classic Western style that the comic has. I mean, the comic takes place all over the world. But the heart and soul of Jesse Custer and the heart and soul of this story is Texas, all right? By God, Texas. And without John Wayne, there's really no cowboys on the show. You got a bunch of hillbillies. It looks a lot more like Arkansas and Anvil than Texas. I mean, they're kind of not that cool. They're kind of disrespectful to Texas. I mean, Jesse Custer would not like the way that they portray Texas. Texas can talk shit about Texas, but Jesse Custer wouldn't like Hollywood talking shit about Texas. So, fucking Dominic Cooper, is that his name? The fucking guy that plays Jesse Custer? I don't think he's ever been to Texas. He certainly doesn't have a lot of Texas in him. I watch him play Jesse Custer. He's a little bit like me. He's kind of like a neurotic New York guy. He's kind of twitchy. He's kind of stumbling around. He's kind of touching his face and shit, He doesn't have that smooth fucking Marlboro Man demeanor that Jesse... Texas is a character in the story, and Jesse Custer needs to be the embodiment of the Texan ideal. He needs to carry himself a little more swagger, you know what I mean? He needs about 25% more Kenny Powers up his ass, you know what I mean? Get him a little bit more don't give a fuckitude, you know what I mean? He's such a prissy little guy, this character. And not for nothing, on the topic of Texas, let's take a moment to look at Sheriff Root's hat. Look at that stupid little hat. No self-respecting Texan would be caught dead in that piddly little thing, dude. What a stupid little hat. He looks like Sheriff Baby Huey Root. He doesn't look like fucking any kind of cowboy Texan sheriff. That's bullshit. He looks stupid. He looks goofy. He looks like, durr, and then he says nice things. Oh, not my Hugo, dude. Hashtag, yeah, my Hugo. Hashtag, not my Hugo. Oh, and there is one, like, little bit of light. I hope this little bit of foreshadowing, unless it's just the fucking trolls trolling me again. Like, so there's this part where Cassidy is, like, talking to Jesse, and, you know, he's, like, all wrapped up because he can't go in the sun, and no one seems to ask him why he dresses like fucking Raiden and going to a shootout with Clint Eastwood all the time. Cassidy says, road trip. You gotta know where this is. That's where this is headed. New York, San Francisco. These are all places they go in the comic. And these are places the show needs to go. Because in the comic, they go all over the world. And that's one of the things that makes Preacher fucking awesome, is that they move around. They go to tons of places in the comic. They go to Europe. They go all over the place in the fucking comic. But no, we're still stuck in Anvil on the fucking show. Anvil every week with the goddamn citizens of Anvil. Oh, the stupid, boring citizens of Anvil. Like the beginning of this episode when you've got the stupid meatpacking guys are chasing the hookers around with their paintball guns. They make it seem like they're actually hunting people as if they hunt humans for sport. But it's like, you know, no, it's a big cop-out. But, oh, she falls down the hole. It's a stupid jump scare. Oh, God, the old switcheroo. You know, it's kind of like watching a shitty version of Supernatural. Like, Supernatural is a good show. Supernatural is a show that, again, is like has a lot of the same kind of elements of a lot of crappy shows, but portrays itself in a different light than the more formulaic programs and survives being on the CW. But a lot of shows on the CW are good, at least I've been told. I never watched Arrow or Flash. Yeah, there's that stupid thing in Anvil. The one hooker dies. They go to her funeral. Oh, what else? There's the mayor's fucking the soccer mom, and the mayor gets pissed on by Quinn Cannon, and that's all, because I don't care, because none of it matters, so fuck the stupid citizens of Anvil. Oh my God, get us out of Anvil. Praying. I'm praying. I'm just praying. I am praying at the end of this season as the Saint of Killers show up and butcher this whole fucking town. Kill every last goddamn man, woman, and child in this stupid fucking town, all right? So we can move on and get to the real story, the journey to find God. Not this bullshit, help the citizens with my powers and become a nice preacher and help people fucking serve God. Oh, it's not the show. It's not the comic. It's not the comic. It's not the comic. It's not at all the comic. Not even close to the comic. Why can't you just be close to the comic? Speaking of people in Anvil that aren't even close to the comic, let's talk about Quinn Cannon. Let's talk about Jackie Earle Haley's Quinn Cannon, right? See, it's like Jackie Earle Haley's Quinn Cannon is way too understated. I've mentioned this before. He's supposed to be more like a Yosemite Sam. He's supposed to be more animated. He's just so boring. He's just so relaxed. He pees at a guy, but he does it so calmly. He should be cackling and bragging and That's my impression of Odin Quinn Cannon in a nutshell from the comics. That's basically him. He's like, and there's none of that from Jackie Earle Haley. He's like, I'm sinister, me. All right, Jackie, but that's boring. You know, that's been done so often. Everybody tries to be the understated villain, and maybe you'll have like this big explosion. You're not Wilson Fisk, okay? Quinn Cannon is never going to be Wilson Fisk. Quinn Cannon can't get physical. He's too fucking much of a pussy. And I know you're like probably do Tybo or something like that, dude, but I know you're also 130 pounds, so be Quinn Cannon, okay? And get your ass kicked like you're supposed to. You're a jobber, dude. You're a jobber. Do the job, jabroni. Do the job. The show's going out of its way to really kind of paint Cassidy with a dual brush. They show him as being like, you know, willing to help the Angels and trying to talk sense into Jesse, even though he doesn't come completely clean about the Angels or the vampirism or any of that stuff necessarily yet. But they also show him as a real hardcore drug addict who doesn't give a fuck, doing all kinds of fucking shit with hookers, you know. So it's too early to unveil Cassidy's dark side. You got to reveal that piece by piece so that it's a surprise a little bit more and more. You think, oh, he's not that bad. Oh, maybe, oh, he fucked up this time, but oh, you know, you can count on Cassidy. You gotta be tricked into thinking you can believe in Cassidy. That's what the comic does way better than the show. The show just makes Cassidy like a funny ne'er-do-well, you know what I mean? But no, he needs to come off as somebody that wants to be relied on, even though deep down he's completely unreliable. That is one of the keys to Cassidy's character. So what else? There's Tulip takes Cassidy to the hospital. I guess that's what we're going to pick up next week. Tulip knows Cassidy's a vampire now. Like, I'm trying to think about, like, there wasn't even anything really funny in this episode. Like, I'm trying to think of a saving grace for this episode. This whole fucking episode is bullshit. Like, I hated this whole fucking episode. This episode really got my goat, and I have a feeling it's going to get worse. I have a feeling it's going to get way worse, because I do know a couple things are going to happen. I've got a couple hints and spoilers. I've got a couple real spoilers under my belt, so it's like, you know, whatever. Ugh, maybe things will get better in the second season. You know, maybe they're just trying to hook a casual audience now, but fucking whatever, right? And so now at the end of this episode, we're pretty much exactly where we were at the end of the first episode. Jesse's got a whole congregation. He uses his word to sell Odin Quincannon to serve God. It's obviously going to backfire on him because Jesse's powers in this show are a fucking monkey's paw and not at all the fucking way they work in the comic. But whatever, you know, it's a stupid TV show that sucks and is going to piss me off for the rest of my life. So, you know, who cares? What it comes down to, and the point of my whole show here that I'm doing, and I'm so glad I started the show now that I know how crappy the AMC show is, this shit is not Preacher, okay? This shit should not go down in history as Preacher. When you talk to people on the street, tell them this is not Preacher. When you're in the park playing Pokemon Go and you stumble upon a crowd of people talking about Preacher from last night, tell them, hey, guess what? That's not Preacher. Tell them what Preacher is. Tell them it's the comic. Read the comic. Buy the comic. Share the comic. Set the comic out there so people see the comic. Get this fucking show out of people's brains. I hear about it all the time already. It was my greatest fear. And now everywhere I go, the show's popular enough that whenever I talk to somebody about Preacher, they're like, oh, that show, I love that show. I'm like, did you ever read the comic? Like, I didn't even know it was a comic. I'm sure it's a pretty good show if you've never seen the comic. But if you've read the comic, the show sucks. The show is shitty. The show sucks, asshole. The show's crap. The show's boring. This show is Preacher the way that Age of Extinction is fucking Transformers, okay? Maybe in China they'll love this version of Preacher. Maybe in China they'll just love Jesse Custer and they'll all start cutting their hair that way and wearing fucking shit on their fucking lapels and shit. This show is like some fucking douchebag ate a big fucking Preacher sandwich, shit it out, fucking pissed on it, jerked off on it, ate it again, puked it up, ate it again, shoved it down his mouth, shit it back out again, ran it over with a car, molested his parents, ate it again, puked it all over a fucking horse's cock while it was fucking the Queen of England up the asshole, eaten again, and then spit in my face! So, like, there's no relief for me. You know, there's no relief for me. I cast a spell, try and make myself feel better about the fucking show, and that goes haywire. But, you know, I'm glad that I sat through it. I'm glad I got all upset. You know, I'm glad I got worked up. I'm glad that I still care about this comic. I'm glad that I'm still passionate about doing this show so that I can inform you, the viewing public, that out there watching this dumb Preacher show about what Preacher really is. And, you know, it inspires me, you know? Inspires me not to give up in general. You know, I don't need fucking hallucination guns and video games to fucking feel better about myself. I do wonder why I was drawn down to those subway tunnels. I mean, I was out of my mind. I wasn't conscious for how I got down there. I have no idea what I was doing down there, but I don't know, I feel like I missed something while I was there, you know? I feel like I went down there for a reason that I forgot. You know, like when you're in the living room, but you decide you need something from the other room, so you go into the other room, and as soon as you go into the other room, you're like, why did I come in here? And I have this theory that before you're born, whatever dimension you're existing in, whatever form you might be existing in before you're born, like, you know, you're kind of planning out your run, right? You're like, all right, going down to Earth, gonna be human this time, got it figured out. Went down there a couple times before, kind of fucked it up, but this time I got it, right? I'm gonna do A, I'm gonna do B, I'm gonna do C. Be healthy and smart and great. I'm gonna be a great fucking human, right? And then you get shot down into a womb and you're all fucking gestated and you're ready to be born and you pop out. And what did I come down here for? But the only way to find out what you are down here for is to go out and fucking look. So I'm going back to that fucking subway tunnel. I'm going to find out what the fuck is going on down there, and I'm going to get my shit back together. Because I'm tired of being a fucking lazy layabout bitch lying around the house crying about fucking some stupid manifestation of anger wandering about my house or wandering about wherever he's wandering about now. His problems are not my problems. I'm going to need some things from the laboratory. Definitely going to have to get ready before I go down there. It might be dangerous. I don't know what the fuck was down there last time, but something was eerie. Alright, I better suit up. Alright. To the Necronomabora.
All right. If I'm going to undertake this kind of expedition, I need to be extra careful. So I've got an assortment of equipment that I'm going to bring with me. This is my general exploration equipment whenever I venture into a new territory of unexplored phenomenon, if you will. Well, not all of it's what I usually use. I got this new friend of mine, but it did a pretty good number on me, so I have a feeling it'll knock anybody else out. A few more tweaks, I might be able to do some real damage with it, but for now, it should do the job. I've also got my paranormal activity locator. Turn this puppy on. Put these on, and you listen for, basically it's kind of like spiritual sonar. You can hear the pings of beings from other dimensions as they ghost around our dimension, you know, if you will. It just kind of basically, it just picks up energy and turns it into sound. That's all it is. It picks up extra dimensional energy and turns it into sound. No big whoop. Shades, obviously, because they make me look like Macho Man. Pretty much the only reason. And this right here, well, it doesn't just look cool. This is my lucky leather jacket. And, well, for now, let's just say it's got a few tricks up its sleeve. And, you know, in its inside pockets and other places and things like that. This is going to be a long teleport, so I just got to be as relaxed as I can. Get all my gear together. Let's get suited up. All right. I got to get this teleport in the first try or I'm fucked.
You see what I have to work with here.